This show is part of the HeadStuff podcast network.
So do you remember a couple of weeks ago, I got a bit emotional about chopping the top of my finger off?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of people get in touch.
Yeah, you got some support.
We got a lot of support. Thank you very much. And if I didn't get back to you, it's only because I was very embarrassed because I took the plaster off and you know.
You didn't take the top off at all.
Wait, can I see
Well,
that?
I did. Like, it's flatter, marginally flatter by like a millimeter than it was.
Wait. Sorry, just because from my memory, we compared it to somewhere between the Edges beanie and
a yarmulke.
Somewhere in between that.
Yeah.
What I'm looking at here, is less than a yarmulke of skin.
No, it would be like a yarmulke on like a much smaller person's hand.
It's like if your man put your yarmulke in the wash and then put it in the dryer on high heat and it shrank in the wash. Like
could you imagine?
Yeah, and you'd be like, "Man, what you have to do to me yarmulke?"
Did you talk to your mother like that?
Yeah, and it's tiny.
Sorry, excuse me.
Barely any skin is gone. I can't believe you said you chopped
Your
the top
wonderful
of your finger.
Gentile mother has done enough washing that she might ruin one yarmulke, sir. Excuse me, don't talk to your mother like that.
My yarmulke's wrecked. What about my burqa?
They're attractive. Very attractive.
Hot and loud.
And a little bit sad.
He was the best guy around. Oh my. Is it hot in here or what? You're an attractive guy.
It's the fabulous Tony Cantwell.
I'm talking about Shane Daniel Byrne.
Well, there's a spring in my step and a nice relaxing can in my hand in the evenings. Re-raw. Spring is back and now it's time to drink a delicious light fresh lager in the evening in your own home or in the local bar.
Absolutely.
Light and fresh like the air around us in the springtime of the year. The re-raws are peeping their heads out of the
Bubbles
fridges.
of carbon rubbling up from the bottom of that delicious
And
re-raw.
sure didn't the Easter Bunny himself stop between delivering chocolate eggs to have a lovely can of re-raw Irish lager.
This Valentine's, get your partner a few cans of re-raw.
I think I was in a very vulnerable mood and I didn't have any gigs going on or any upcoming TV shows just yet. And I needed a bit of attention.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it was the same thing. I remember one time for 2 weeks, I kept telling my mum, and this is when I was like 17, I was like, "Mom, my leg's sore. My leg is too sore." Yeah, and then she's like, we'll bring you to the doctor. And I was like 17, I was like, on the way probably doing me mocks. And she's like, okay. And then she brought me to the doctor and literally that day my leg wasn't sore anymore.
Yeah.
You know? And you just have those things. You ever have that, like, you know, you're almost out of school, you don't really know what you're doing in college, or maybe you're just out of college and you're just find yourself ill a lot because you just need something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and your mum knew there was nothing wrong. But
Because
she
you were
decided
limping with the other
she
foot.
knew there was something wrong, but she was like, I'm just going to take the hit financially.
Yeah,
I'll pay
150
the
quid
doctor.
now. This is
Wouldn't
just,
have been 150 quid.
Well, it might have been a specialist.
It probably was about 50 at the time.
Well, it was, you know, too much for
Anyway,
me.
she was like, I'll take the hit because that'll shut him up and calm him down. So she just did that because that's what parenting is about sometimes.
I also thought I was going deaf for a while.
Yeah, see, that's just
Then
anxiety.
absolutely aced the hearing test.
Yeah, that's it.
It was very embarrassing.
I was going to get grommets and they put me under.
Oh, but Wallace?
And then, they were going to insert 2 cartoon characters in my ears. And I was young. I must have been like 8 or something like that. And I think I was going fully, like, put me under anesthetic and everything like that. Because I said what a lot. I think I just said what a lot. And I think, from my understanding, I think that's kind of what was happening. I was always like, what? There must be something wrong with this kid's ears. Put me under local anesthetic, general anesthetic, or whatever one that puts you under. And then whilst I was under, they looked at my ears and they were like, absolutely nothing wrong with his ears. And then I woke up and they were like, yeah, we didn't do anything to you. And I got a turkey sandwich.
Right.
And then they sent me home.
Wow.
My brother got me some of those little army toys because I was an invalid. I was in bed. But these doctors and everyone just put me under. And then...
no, you'd have to worry about it.
This sounds... not that I don't believe you, but
Yeah.
this sounds suspicious. It sounds like one of those memories you have from a child that is actually, you've confused it. That doesn't seem right that you would go under general anesthetic from which you can just die.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem right that
What's
happened.
the one
I'm
where
sorry
you...
to doubt you.
What's the one
Local
where you
anesthetic.
get put asleep?
General
General
anesthetic.
Yeah, they put me asleep.
Now, that confuses me now because even in a child's doctor bag, there's usually 3 tools. One to test the reflexes, one to listen to your heart, and the thing to look in your ears that they do when you're sitting up and not under general anesthetic.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that a doctor did not even bother to follow the 3 protocol of every illness, of checking if your knee kicks and if your heart's still beating and looking in your ear before they put you under general anaesthetic to potentially they had bought the grommets.
What's this interrogation?
No, I
I'm sorry, I just think it's important.
They cleaned out my ears.
I think it's important to be thorough and like I want this podcast to be rigorous in
Who
terms
do you think
of
you
its
are,
content.
Louis Thorough?
Oh, very good.
No, they did. They put me under, and then I had a turkey sandwich.
I'm going to speak to Fiona and Helmut about this. I'm sorry, there's just something off.
What's wrong? What's off? What's off?
They put him under generous and they went,
They put him under.
oh, actually, no, the ears look fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
That's what
Killian, it
happened.
doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. It feels like a confusing memory. Maybe you had some other operation and they just didn't tell you.
Yeah, it was. It was a penis reduction operation.
I was actually,
Ew,
I actually
that's
had
a
a penis.
child. Shut up.
I had a
Killian,
penis
gross.
reduction, and then surgery, right, and it put me general anesthetic, and then apparently the nurse had a look at it, and they were like, "Actually, that's lovely, and that's
All
good.
the nurses came
That's actually
in.
fucking quality. I've actually never seen Mickey like that." And then I came out of there, and I remember this happened because I had a bacon sandwich after, so I definitely had that.
There's a doctor on TikTok who does Scottish doctor, and he's called Dr. Something, and he diffuses. What's the word? Debunks the stuff that people say.
Oh, yeah.
And Megan Fox apparently says a lot of rubbish. That's her thing at the moment.
Oh, lovely.
She says something about the plasma in her blood, and every time she gets blood taken, loads of nurses flock into the room. And he was like, well, that's a lot of rubbish. And he's like, I would say if nurses appeared in the room, it's because Megan Fox was in there. And like, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I instantly, just his forthright taking down of this rubbish, I was like, I fancy this doctor now. I fancy him.
Oh, when I heard Scottish
it's not
doctor,
about-
I was like, okay, that's
Yeah.
plenty
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
That's
You know
all
what
I mean.
Yeah, that's
I
enough.
do love that everyone in the Megan Fox's doctor's office wanted to get a selfie with her, and like obviously we're too shy to just say it's because it's Megan Fox. So they were like, no, we want photos with you because of
Your
the plasma.
plasma.
So much
Your
plasma.
plasma is so amazing. She was like actually chuffed, like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, it's because your plasma's so good. Oh, thank you very much.
It is mad when celebrities just get so, like they say, like Mel Gibson's on a real thing now where he's just spouting the absolute heaps
Now,
of shite.
he's been doing
But
that
no,
for
I
20 years,
I know,
Tommy.
but you see him in these interviews and he's all like, oh, this doctor said I've never seen anyone with worse PTSD. You know, your brain scan is one of the worst brain scans I've ever seen in my life. And then he's like, nah, a lot of my friends, has had their lives saved by ivermectin. You know, that horse thing that solves COVID. You know, he's like, a lot of his friends survived because of ivermectin. When you really are at that peak, and have no more fucks to give, you're kind of like, all right, not just acting. I have the most plasma of anyone in my body, and my brain is the worst. It's like
People love saying that kind of thing.
Can someone not be around? Can there not be like a little AI assistant being like bullshit? To just keep people in
There's
there.
no need to
Or a
say
little
AI.
zap.
You can just say that to the people.
But like just a zap in the neck when you're just talking
Like
shite.
a dog's barking
Yeah,
collar.
yeah. Being like, not true.
Or if we got some sort of chip inserted in our brains.
That'd be great. I'd be into that.
Gibson, John Voight, and Sylvester Stallone. I think they're the 3 people Trump has appointed to be the sort of saviors of Hollywood, to save it from wokeism and just blow the wokeism, as my uncle said. And they're going in and they're kind of being given, I don't know, some sort of control to try and save Hollywood. They're the.
What are they talking about? What can they do?
I don't know, but I mean,
What are you talking
I
about?
guess the idea is we'll probably just be seeing like I guess the way films work in 2, 3, 4 years, we'll be seeing a load of real funny films, which are going to be like essentially, Team America, but not satire.
3 straight-to-video superstars saving Hollywood, which is already dead, and everything's moving out of California, and the wildfires were even a bigger reminder that you cannot rely on something like that they're all moving to Atlanta. In fact, they're all moving to Ireland, like for the productions. There's even
It's
more
cheap
and more.
to film here.
It's cheap to film here.
They're all in and out.
30% tax rebate. So, like, there is no benefit of making
I heard
anything
in
in
the
Hollywood.
Canaries it's 44.
Wow. See, everyone's chasing these rebates around.
Yeah.
And then in terms of getting them released, you look at films like The Brutalist that are just like funded by like 4 people and then they take over. Like independent films are just going to be made by millionaires or, conglomerate, groups of people together. And it's not going to be happening in Hollywood. It doesn't happen that way. The studio system's dead. It's not going to be
Anyway,
saved.
fuck this fascism. Look what's after happening. Look what's after happening
I
now.
know. Elon Musk is in the bloody
Everyone
treasury
believes
now.
this shit. Call each other out on this shit. This podcast supports trans people. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We do that. So fuck
100%.
you, all you cunts. Shut your mouths.
Yeah.
Wind your neck in. Why are you so bothered by everyone else's business?
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. And I'm telling you, I am worried about this new rise of fascism.
Yeah.
Did you ever do history? Did you do history in school?
No, I didn't,
Did
unfortunately.
you do
Yeah,
it?
I did. Yeah.
You know the essay you have to do of Hitler's rise to power? It's the best one.
You would know
Yeah.
that.
Did you do? Some people don't do World
They
War
didn't
II.
let me do it.
You didn't.
They thought I'd get too
Oh,
excited.
sorry. Yeah,
They
yeah.
thought I was taking too many notes.
Yeah, you can do IRA stuff, Killian. Like, but Hitler's Rise to Power is the best essay because it's really easy to remember because you go, okay, posters, okay, this, okay, propaganda, okay, this, okay, 5 year, and this is that's actually what they've done now. They've just created a whole thing, and now they've gone like, oh, we are a dictator. He's accountable to no one, Donald Trump. And that's what's happened. If there's no accountability, they say in the press, Donald Trump, you can't do this, and he goes, shut up, you're a liar again. And then that's the end of that. So there's no accountability anywhere, and that's what happens. That's dictatorship. They have a dictator.
They say they're rewriting history. You know, I've heard of this is happening all the time. Like there's people telling stories about medical things that happened to them when they were kids, and people are just straight up not believing them
It's crazy, you know.
about things that happen with grommets in their ears, and there's a perfectly normal story, and then people are questioning that, saying it's not true.
Yeah,
I just need to remember. I just
There's
think
no-
I'm trying to do my research here, Killian.
No space for
I
that.
just think there needs to be an element of rigor around the content we put in this podcast, and it just doesn't sit right with me.
Is that so? Is my story of not getting grommets the same as Mel Gibson's Invermectin thing?
It's not dissimilar.
It's not
I will
dissimilar.
say it's not dissimilar.
It's not dissimilar, no.
Such a beige version.
Yeah, it's just like unconscious.
Another time they went to
you
to bring me.
fasted. You know what I mean? I'm just
They
thinking.
went
I'm
to take
like,
my tonsils out,
right.
and I'm not sure. I don't think they put me under this time, but I went in, and then they saw that I had an open wound. I'd burned my foot, and then they didn't put me under. I don't think so. And then they just sent me away. So
How
I
did
had
you burn your little foot, please?
stew, scout camp,
Uh,
big bowl of stew spilled on me, and I got I think it's like 2nd degree burns. It's quite bad. I still have it here. I can show you.
Oh, yeah?
You see it there?
No.
There's. You
Oh,
can
no.
see it.
that's just your ankle.
slightly pinkish.
You're surprisingly
The light is
hairless
The
ankle.
shape of Mongolia.
Ankles
it's
are
hairless
hairless
because of the burn.
socks.
Oh, yeah. I'm not really.
I mean, kind of.
Kind of.
Joking?
Welcome back
That's
to
my war
Two
room.
Men Look at Another Man's Leg.
If we were to do a little Jaws situation where, you know, they sit around comparing scars, what is your worst scar and injury?
Well,
you
I
best
showed you that
anyone?
little one before, but it's hard to know. If you don't know my own hand, you don't know it's there. The
Oh,
scar,
that's a shame.
Yeah, the scar there. I don't have big scars like that. I don't think so.
You were careful.
I've got that. Don't know how I got
A
it.
little dent. This is boring. Sorry, this is not good audio content. Whoa. Zoom out.
That's
Can I
fine.
just say, when I showed you my ankle there, and it was no big deal. If this was the 1890s, and I was flashing that shit,
I mean, people
Were
would.
men's ankles allowed to be seen in those periods?
I don't think
They
anyone's
used to.
ankles.
Women would suffer from hysteria at the sight of a man's ankle, and they would have to go to the doctor and get their geese sprayed with a hose.
That's the kind of thing they do.
They did.
That is the kind of thing
That
they
was
do.
actually the cure for hysteria.
They would
What
be
about
walking around
the
a court talking about my Mongolia-shaped cut. There'd be witterings in court. People hushed. I would walk into the court, and then everyone would go like that. Like, I've heard. Someone saw the shape of Mongolia on his ankle. Oh, it was pinkish skin. Oh,
They
Isn't
say
it-
he's the
isn't
second
it-
coming of Genghis Khan.
Isn't it mad the way those
fathered
things move
7
in
children.
cycles like that? Like the Romans didn't really have words for heterosexual and homosexual. They were like, well, yeah, whatever. And they were like, some people prefer just one.
Just
That's
called
fine.
class.
It was just like, yeah, it's called like
Good crack.
sucking dick, licking pussy. I'm sorry about that. But like that's the kind of thing they just didn't care. And then it goes inside, and now then it moved thousands of years later. It's like you can't even show your ankle. You know what I mean?
I like
It's,
puritanical.
I can never. The cyclical nature of those things really never fails to amaze me.
But now there's foot fetish and everything like that, so it's still like a hangover from it, I think.
It's because they're
I
You know,
feel like-
for people who love feet,
Yes, wiki feet people.
if they go to the beach, are they like, oh my god? Like, is it like seeing a private part? Like, how does it?
I reckon it's the same reaction as to when you go to the beach, say with you're a straight boy, and you go to the beach with your friends who are girls, and then they get into their bikinis, and you're like, "You're in your underwear."
That's what I mean.
You're in your underwear.
Are they like when they see
I
all
don't,
the
think they
your
turn,
socks.
I don't think they turn to like a cartoon wolf or anything like that. Like,
Eyes,
coming
Tom,
out.
the steam comes out their ear.
You know, I reckon it's the same kind of like, oh. You
That'd
know?
be handy though.
Would be, no, it's foot.
Oh God! Oh, welcome to Young Hot Guys.
Oh God!
Welcome to
I
Young
think
Hot Guys. That's the kind of
authors
stuff.
these days.
Authors?
Like authors, yeah, going on authors because we're talking about Victorian era and stuff like that. I there's something I like about how they described people, like they really went in on people, and they talk about sort of they go, he was a plain-faced man, or I always find when they say striking, what they're trying to say is ugly, like they always go like, she walked into the room and she was very striking. I feel like they're always it's just like a big ugo, and they're just going, oh, very striking. The way there was hair above her lip and a thick forehead. The way her eyes bulged. It was striking.
I read Maeve Binchy's Circle of Friends in school, and she describes one character all the time as Elfin.
Yeah.
Eve is her name. She's Elfin. She's a tiny little thing. And then Benny, who is the main character, who is based on
Benny.
Maeve Binchy, kind of, she calls herself like Big Benny, bounded into the and her bust and thing, and she's kind of a big handsome girl.
Yeah.
I think that was based on Maeve Binchy herself.
Well, Benny gets.
I love handsome as a term.
Spoilers.
Handsome woman.
She's handsome. She's pretty.
Yeah, but
She's the girl
sometimes
from
people
Belfast City.
people have now started to move handsome woman into like it means they're like plain. That's what it means. They're like that.
Plain.
Yeah.
It has kind of been done in that way. I just think authors these days, when you read the books, they're just describing the faces, and I kind of want a bit of that Victorian kind of. I want you to throw this at the person. I kind of want that a little bit. I just find it funny when they say that kind of stuff. Because then I know when they're just saying the person is a big ugo, then you know you're supposed to hate that person, and you know that's a bad person. Whereas there's so much nuance in the conversations today, but then there's also no nuance.
And there's room for
And
change.
there's room for
in
change
terms
and
of
change the
conversations.
conversations and talking to your dads and all that kind of stuff. So I'd appreciate a little less nuance.
I was brushing the kids' teeth the other day, and I kept doing
Both
this.
at the same time?
I
One
could.
hand on each.
I could. No,
That's my
'cause
year!
Indy's like, I want to do it first, and she wants to like brush her teeth first.
Does she
even
do they just suck the
she
toothpaste
just
off?
fucking going to town on the fucking, getting rid of all that toothpaste.
We had Care Bear
bubblegum.
toothpaste when we were kids, and I just would put that in my mouth and I would just eat it.
Yeah,
and
well,
then
she
they'd be
tries
like,
to
"Are you
do that.
eating it?" And you'd be like, "No," but they knew.
That's what she's trying to do. Sonny lets me, and then he does a job, not as good a job after I do. So I'm only doing one at a time. But for some reason, I had it locked in my head, this kind of like, I don't know what we were watching. We were watching something that had like a BBC reporter the night before, and we were just talking about how, like, me and Terry were talking about, you see these BBC reporters in the 60s, and it's like, even though they probably prided themselves as being really unbiased, because you can just hear in their voice just how posh they are and how, that they are looking down on everything. Like, they call themselves the Beatles, well, why don't you get a haircut? Yeah. So when I was brushing the kids' teeth, I just kept doing this beat, being like, it's called toothbrushing. It's like a big sweeping brush, but you use it for your teeth. All the kids are doing it. They're using fluoride in their paste.
One time, my dad washed our feet in the sink because,
Christ.
because
like
obviously it
Magdalene
was
and
just like it was
Christ.
between bath or whatever, and their feet are filthy, and he washed our feet, and we had to stand in the sink, and it was one of the funnest times. It was like, this is pretty hilarious.
Standing up in a sink.
Standing in the sink in the bathroom, and he was like, just obviously like, wash the feet, get the feet, they have filthy feet, and I just like, what a time. What a time. You don't get that now.
You don't get that now.
You don't get
so
that now.
tickly.
You don't get that now. I couldn't tell you that I was my dad washed my feet.
Do you reckon if you're like, if I was one of the apostles, and I could be, and I was there before the Last Supper, and then Christ was there, like, oh, we're going to sit at this big long table, first I'm going to wash your feet. I think I'd probably say no. I could feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it was a thing at the time.
Yeah.
Well, they say that, you know what I mean? They say that, but, like, oh, it was a different time back then. Oh, yeah, well, there weren't rights for women then. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't fly with me. I don't want anyone to wash my feet. And I would have been an ally, even in medieval times.
Where are we? Medieval?
No, I'm sick of this grading on a curve, judging people. No. You should know exactly the same things that I know right now. No, I'd hate that. I hate that. Fucking Jesus, be all fucking wash me feet.
Yeah.
Right before dinner.
No.
It feels like, you getting me ready for something? Do you know what I mean? I mean, you are telling us that you're going to be betrayed.
I love the drama. I think it's great. And the whole Last Supper that he organized that, it's great. It's really wonderful. I think the Pharisees...
good showman.
Yeah. Great show, man.
Even if you weren't Judas, right, and you were there, and you hadn't, like, if you was like and you didn't know anything. So trying to ignore Judas Iscariot. He's been toned the line up to this point, and if he's like, or whatever, this is my body, you need it, and you're like, all right, this is my blood, drink it. This guy's getting pretty fucking morbid, and he's like, one of you is gonna, before the cock crows 3 times, one of you will betray me. Would you be like, oh fuck? Like I would 100% think it's me, and I'd be running through my head, being like, fuck, what have I done? I definitely have done something weird.
Yeah.
I think I would easily.
It's.
I don't think
like
I wouldn't get myself wrapped up
traitors.
in a cult like that, so I don't think I'd be in that position.
No.
No.
No, I don't think I'd be in that position.
What if you saw him walking underwater to save some fishermen?
Yeah.
Or what if you were like a second ago, there was actually only one loaf?
And then there
Now
was
look at
loads
the-
of loaves and fishes.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
What about that?
Explain.
What about raising a man from the dead?
Yeah.
What about curing a leper? Befriending a tax collector? You know what? This sounds like a pretty top guy.
He did fucking lay into that fig tree though,
I did.
pretty hard.
What was the fig tree part?
They were walking through, and they just come out of the desert or whatever. We're always coming out of the bloody desert, and they saw a fig tree, and they got really excited, and they came over, and there was no figs on it, and so Jesus cursed the fig tree so that it would never grow figs again.
I thought Christians don't do curses.
I know it's very rare. It's a very rare vindictive move.
It was that,
move.
and then 2,000 years, and then the Mayo All Ireland curse, and then that's the 2 known curses.
Well, famously, actually, sorry, God hates figs, so maybe that's probably why.
that might be it as well.
Very good.
I did stand up last night, and I was doing a bit about Jesus, and I said, "What was what was Jesus' first miracle?" And the guy said it, and the guy had been sitting there as an American man, and he was stone faced, stone faced the whole time. Look, really not. It was going well. It was a good bit, and then I was like asking, I was like, "What was Jesus' first miracle?" And the American was stone faced the whole time. Just went, he turned water into wine, and then kind of said that like staring forward, and then like turned and looked straight in my eyes.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. And then try to continue with my bit with just this fucking raging Christian man in the front row, just staring at me with all his hatred. Like, how dare I do this or something
It's
like that.
unchristian of him.
Right, well, what's he doing on a comedy show?
The next time you have a
Ireland.
stone-faced American in your crowd, you should call him Mount Rushmore. It's like, all right, Mount Rushmore. And he'd be like, why'd you say that? Because you're a stone-faced American.
Americans are always at the gigs. I had a nice gig the other night where
So funny.
you know what I mean? Like in terms of what I just said?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say anything. I had a gig and I had one of those comedian destroys heckler, but I can't post the video because it's too convoluted.
Oh, yeah.
And it would
was
take
it?
too long to get to the
But
thing.
you have the space here.
There was people. No, it's too hard to explain now. It's too hard to
we have
explain.
time.
I just said it's too hard to explain.
Okay.
And I don't like to be questioned on things.
Wow.
Okay.
What is this? My
Comedian
grommet
destroys.
surgery?
Comedian destroys co-host.
Comedian destroys comedian. But anyway, I couldn't post that. Found out that the people are destroyed. The girl are destroyed. Sat down beside in the audience, and then said to the guy beside it, was like, "Are you guys going to heckle?" And they were like, "No." And she was like, "Oh, we come here all the time. We just heckle. We love it." Isn't that so weird? We go out to heckle. That's so strange.
Sounds like you're jealous, babe. Sounds like you want to be on that stage, but you ain't got the courage.
Get yourself to an open mic if you want to get up on
Yeah.
stage and do it.
It'd be very hard now. It's hard now these days.
Well,
But
comedy's
look,
hard. There's plenty of open mics.
Yeah, look, if you're like that person, make some very funny videos and then skip the queue, and then you'll get on sstage. Okay, if you're one of those hecklers. Okay,
I've said this before. My top advice: go viral online. It's really changes your life. You know, all you have to do is one video and then be smart about what you do next, and that's all you need. That's all you need to do.
yeah,
And
I've been going viral now.
Look at me now. Yesterday, I interviewed the president, Mary McAleese. Do you know what I mean? Because I put on a wig one time. This is what life is like. You know what I mean? It's great.
Yeah, so maybe we shouldn't
Cheers.
be so angry
Cheers.
Cheers to that, lads.
at the simulation.
Cheers.
We're all having pure vodka. Just kidding, it's water. Once I was at a tent at like 6 a.m. at a festival, and then I was like with these people, I didn't even know them, but I was like, yeah, we're hanging out, whatever. And somebody passed around this bottle, and I went to drink it, and they're like, Shane, that's vodka. And I didn't know that at the time, I thought it was water. And I just had to try, I made a decision in my head, I was like, I'll be cool, and I just drank it anyway. I was like, yeah, I know. And then I managed to pull it off and not be,
Oh my
not go.
God.
Wild.
But it was the coolest, it was pretty cool of me, pretty cool of
Vodka
me.
be the worst one. to
Drinking is
drink.
not cool. Please drink responsibly. But I was young. You know, I was reckless abandon.
You know, you're trying to save face, you like drink tequila or something like that. That's when I realize how many muscles I have in my face because of how I'm not trying to wince. Like every single time it's all like, I feel like, oh my God, there's 36 fucking muscles pulling, you know.
I don't care for tequila.
No, well, there's nice tequila now.
I don't mind tequila.
I know as a shot though. I don't mind a tequila drink, tequila with a soda or something, maybe. But like, I just don't.
Sparkling water.
Whatever you want to put sparkling water.
Marhampla.
Marhampla. Syngas, no congas. Patatas al nata. No, I just don't. I just think that's unsettling. It's unsettling for the stomach. I don't know. It just puts me off.
Yeah, it feels very hot. No, that wouldn't be my shot. I'd have a shot of whiskey now. That'd be kind of my preferred.
I'd rather
kind of.
take my whiskey neat. Bobby Black.
Are we allowed to sing on the podcast anymore?
Yeah, we're singing on the podcast. Look,
Don't
those
mind them.
people. Those people who were so cruel about you
We
singing on
put
the
up a
podcast.
video and then people commented on it saying, stop singing on the podcast.
We talked about the podcast.
Yeah. Is talking about things on the podcast not allowed anymore?
We're allowed to talk about things in the podcast, but we should just talk about the same thing every single week. Just see how far we can get, how far we can go with it.
That's what they'd like. You know, I went for my appraisal there the other week. My scan, my body scan.
For your fitness PT,
For my fitness
man?
PT,
Or your
man.
coach, as he may be called now?
Yeah, I'm calling him PT.
Yeah.
And did this thing where I had to like stand on this kind of like a what's it called? A
Revolving platform?
no, what are they called? A lazy Susan.
Oh, yes. Or as my
Oh.
granny called it, a lazy Susie.
Oh,
Which-
that's you.
Yeah, not as a choice. That's just what she thought it was called.
And I had to stand on that in my underwear. And although firstly before I went in, he was like, all right, so if you just go in there, you would take your clothes off, and then hold your hands out like this, kind of an A shape or whatever, and this kind of camera will scan your whole body. We'll get a sense of you.
On behalf of myself, Killian, and all of us, how many clothes did you have to take off?
Yeah.
I had to take off all of my clothes.
Boxers?
Apart from my boxers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, we were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were
Okay.
wondering.
Changes everything.
Okay, well, let's change the conversation and be clear next time. Now, actually, I took my clothes off right beside him. Then I went behind the curtain, and he's all like, and he was like, most people just get their clothes off behind the curtain. I'm like, oh yeah. Anyway, they did the scan, and I was waiting for it, and then I looked at it. It was a 3D scan. I can show you here.
Please do.
Oh, you have it.
I do, and we can even put it on the. There I am.
Ah,
Is that you?
There's me.
Oh my God. It looks like you're in a morph suit.
Yeah, and you know what? I
It
was
is-
fucking delighted with it.
Yeah, you look great.
I thought I
It
looked
looks
great.
like someone 3D printed Tony.
Yeah, it does. Now, as you can see here, there's a delicious bulge there
You can
from
really-
the side
It's,
profile.
The bulge of his cock.
It's hard to describe for the listenership.
I'll put it up. I'll put it up so you can
don't
see.
put up the
Oh,
full
here are your
thing.
stats. Can I see your stats?
Yeah, you can have a look at my stats.
Oh my
Let's see
God,
Tony's
Tony,
stats.
so
if
vulnerabilized.
you'd like, I don't mind.
Okay, fat-free mass.
But, well, no, don't go into the details of like my visceral fat or anything like that.
So you're ranked 25% places you on the average level.
Based on the
Okay.
Mayo Clinic
You
research.
have a lower body fat than 40% of men between ages 30 to 39. Now, that sounds good, but then I got to say there's like a color grade here, and there's green, like a light green, and
Green
then
to
there's,
red.
and
Green
then
would be
there's
too
a
fit,
sort of
I'd
a
say.
dark red.
Green would be too
And
fit.
Tony would definitely be closer to the red.
in
I
the
would just
amber.
say.
Kind of a-
He's in the amber.
Kind of a dad dick brown kind
And
of
then
color.
there's I mean, yeah,
of a-
average sounds quite good, but then when you look at it, there's 5 categories. There's essential fat, athletic, fit, and then at risk. And Tony is between average and at risk.
No, I'm average.
He's-
and
but
and
like,
you know what they
he's
said?
falling towards
And
at risk.
I was just I was looking at this scan and I was like, oh my God, I look great. And he's like, oh, normally this is where people get like kind of scared. This is normally like, they're like, they want to fix. And he was like, all right, well, look, if you want to, I was like, I want to get a bigger chest and bigger arms. And he's like, well, if you're looking at your gut. And I'm like, well, how much am I at risk with the gut? And he said, well, it says normal. And he's like, well, let's have a look here and see if we can get you down to the low risk, right? So how much centimeters would you need to lose off your gut to
Is this
to
just
be-
a fancy thing? Is there like
It's a fancy thing. Well, it's good to you can just do it every couple of months and then it sees exactly all the parts.
You're
that you've
one
kind of grown.
slice of pizza away from slipping into at risk.
at risk of what? See,
no,
this is the thing.
this
It's
is
all
the
very
thing.
vague. That's all well
That's-
and
yeah,
that's very
at
cool,
risk.
but it's like at risk of what? Like of what? You're in the 40%. Is that who knows that's good?
Well,
what do you know what I mean?
No,
It's
you're-
kind of like, well, is he healthier? You know what I mean?
Your gut apparently is like they say the gut normally is what is directly linked with the risk of kind of all cause mortality and then heart whatever
An
failure.
apple-shaped belly can
an ap-
lead towards diabetes and other related illnesses.
But then he said you're at the average now. If you wanted to get down to low risk, what you would have to do, here's much you'd have to lose from your waist. And he set it down to low and then it reflected on the thing. 0.2 centimeters I'd have to lose off my tummy. 0.2 of a centimeter. 20 millimeters off my belly.
20 millimeters.
So a very small amount to be at low risk.
Is it expensive, this business?
No, it was actually quite cheap. I'll tell you off air.
Yeah, please. I'm interested in getting scanned.
But he was just so taken aback by how delighted I was with I mean, this is meant to be the start of my fitness journey, and I was
he wanted you to cry.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like Trini and Susanna?
No, it wasn't scary like that. You know, it was
or
just kind of
shaming. What's what they used to do. You remember Trini and Susanna?
Oh, yeah.
On TV?
What is that?
They used to put women in a little mirrored booth, and then they'd go, "Look at you, a big fat belly." Now they would try and balance it out by going, "You've got great tits, darling," but they would focus on that period of TV was all about your disgusting body.
Yeah,
it was
I
like,
remember that.
Let's cover up. Let's this A-lined let's
And
change
draw
that
on you with a
frame.
marker
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. stuff like
Horrible,
that,
horrible.
Gokwan and all the gang.
Gokwan,
But they would
too.
pretend to be celebrating your body, but actually,
No.
but the gym guy is not about that. He's about like
no, he's more just like, look, these are like, it took measurements of my arms and my thighs and stuff like that and my gut. So so that if in 3 months' time after doing this, rather than having just the before and after, we have the proper metric of where these things are growing.
Yeah.
And so they can look at that kind of thing. But I fucking loved it. I was like, Jesus, actually, thanks for that. I'll never see you again.
To you, I think the day after you'd done it, and he was like, "So, if you want to change it, you know, if you made some slight changes in your diet," and Tony was like, "Diet is off the table."
I said I've no interest in that. I said I've no interest in
Tony was
that.
like, "Well, listen, I don't know if this makes your job easier or harder, but I will be eating the exact same way I currently eat, and there's not going to be any change in that
No, he's very
whatsoever."
good. He was just like, look, if you want to cut down on sugars, and I'm like, nah, I'm not really into that. I'm kind of into eating more right now. Kind of into eating like more protein or whatever like that, but I probably can maintain the kind of thing. You
what
know?
about, say, a mint flavored Terry's chocolate orange in the nighttime? That's fine, right?
Yeah, a whole one?
Naughty.
Well, not a whole one.
A whole orange?
But Raymond went to get the milk and the bread, and he came back at one of them, and I was like, I've never loved a man more in my life. I've never felt strong about anyone. I was like, good choice.
That's
good choice.
That's bliss.
Even though the other day I was doing something, and I said, "Oh, I must go. I bought a coffee before thing. I said, I want something a bit." You know the way.
Yeah.
And then I went over, looked. I was like, "Look at a Lucasade," and then I went, "No, that's too sugary," and I just left it. And I was proud of myself.
Oh wow, that's good.
There was no need for the thing. You just want it. If I could have bought an apple, probably would have subsided the same feeling. Anyway, look, I've been off the rails with the gym. I don't know how you get back on it. The dad texted me and he said, "Hey Shane, here's my schedule, the trainer man," and I just went, "Okay," and I did not reply to him. Well, I was now busy and I found the message late, but I don't know. I'm actually sick of myself. I'm sick of the people listening to this podcast going, would you ever stop saying that?
I heard a thing about creating
echoes
habits,
everyone's
but for the first time, if you want to start going to the gym again, they say just go, don't do anything, and then go home. That's actually like if you just do that, and then I mean you could even do it like use the sauna. Just say, "Oh, I'm just going to go to the gym and use the sauna," and then go, and that's your first trip to the gym. Then the next time you go, maybe I'll do like a little bit of walking on one of those weird machines.
Yeah.
And you could just familiarize yourself with the process of going to the gym as a thing.
And also, rest is very important. So
if you do one,
so you're
session
nailing that
there.
right now.
You need
Actually, yeah, like rest is
go there, don't do anything.
Yeah,
Rest.
Yeah,
is key for muscle
Well, I was
growth.
very busy there. I do feel up for it now. I do feel like actually more up for it again.
Yeah.
I had half a day off on Tuesday and half a day off on Wednesday, so that was pretty exciting.
Do you know what's actually probably frustrating is that like our jobs are very active. Like they are like you'd be standing a lot. You know,
they're irregular.
On stage.
The hours are irregular.
They are irregular. So like what's annoying is like I'm probably like burning heaps of calories even in this job. Do you know what I mean? Like I keep thinking, I need to be, I don't know. It just scares me about my metabolism. I used to live beside St. Anne's Park and I used to smoke weed in there. So that when my friends
Did you bring
were over,
people with you when you were there?
I did. We went looking for the Guinness Ayers wall of dog skulls that apparently is in St. Anne's Park. Actually, this is the perfect opportunity to bring this up. Does anyone know the story of apparently there's a wall, the whole plot used to be the Guinness owned, and apparently they had a troubled son who they kind of gave his own little kind of estate, off the main estate, right? And he apparently was obsessed with the occult and built a wall out of dog skulls. And you can actually see apparently this wall that has embedded dog skulls because he was so into the occult. We smoked weed and we tried to find it one time and we couldn't find it, and I haven't found anything online about it. So if anyone has any information,
Please come to our festival in St. Anne's Park. We will have Tony
doing a
walking
tour.
a walking weed tour where he
Of the
tries
dog
to find.
Why don't we get
I'll
that
be doing-
history lesbian on the case? You know her? Jane Casey.
Oh, I don't know her.
She does like, I'm in Killiney and here's a pub that has a historical significance. You don't know those videos?
No, that sounds great.
Oh,
That
Jane
sounds right up
Casey.
my alley.
Jane Casey. I don't know if you're a listener to this podcast, but if you could be, I also don't know if you're a lesbian. I just kind of bet on that.
Weird.
Oh.
She wears a cap.
Yeah.
I don't know. But if you could research the dog skull for Tony and let us know.
That'd be great. Please.
You cannot come on the podcast, though, I will say. Everyone is barred from coming to this podcast.
No, please, in isolation. Maybe a lovely voice note or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Brief. Anna, I'd love to know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Is there a dog skull or not? A long rumored dog skull.
Long rumored dog skull wall.
Dog skull wall. I like things that are rumoured. If anyone was in the Scouts in the Greater Dublin area, you may have camped in Powerscourt in Enniskerry, and there was a rumoured graveyard. And I want to say it is real. I've been in it. It's real. I've been to it, and it's very old.
Like an old graveyard?
Yeah, like a graveyard of whatever, whoever owned the Powerscourt house at the time, or before that or something. I don't know.
I would have loved to have been one of the mad children of like one of those big old families. And it's like it's literally like you're just not like into like the weird way that they were. Obviously, they were all just living in this weird mental time where they're all.
But you got a batch of bad. You know the way they're
Yeah.
all kind of slightly inbred. You got the really bad batch, and you're that weird guy.
Yeah, I'd love to have been that.
Well, apparently there's a guy who, what's the estate where, what's it called? One for All. Yeah, all together now is, they have that Waterford estate.
Oh, that's going to annoy me now.
Well,
Tony. Oh, no, and we're not moving on.
Okay.
Or maybe we have to. Okay, what's the name of the area? Port Law.
I'm going to Google it if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
Sure.
ATN, man, all together now. It's a fucking sick.
You're not ATN. Man.
Truly is one of the great. Like, it's just a really good vibe. Like.
Saw Roisin Murphy again.
Curramore Estate.
Curramore, but what's the name of your man? I believe the father died, and he was like, no festivals, and then the father died, and the son was like, festivals.
It's the Curramore Estate.
Well, I think there was
anyway.
like the Earl of Curramore, I think it was.
Sure.
He is long rumored to be this guy. There was a guy in London, right? Not Jack the Ripper, but another guy who went by the name Spring-Heeled Jack.
Oh.
Spring-Heeled Jack was apparently a guy who was known, and they were like, who is this guy? Basically, he was a guy going around trying to grab women, and he even had like brandishing a knife. Don't think he was ever successful, but he would kind of give people a scare and just go like stabby, stab, stab. And then he had springs attached to his feet, and that he was able to actually bound over, like he would escape the bobbies, the coppers, by running and bounding over massive fucking walls and doors. And he went by the name Spring-Heeled Jack.
When I went, I wasn't.
That's all right. You weren't a name.
You didn't. You went.
It's a cool name, but then I didn't realize what he had done.
He was kind of like an unsuccessful, give you a bit of a spook, Jack the Ripper type.
Okay.
And
order Jack the Ripper on Wish.
But people are like,
a prankster.
What is this guy? He's jumping around, like he's able to bound over walls really quick.
But that's not true.
And it's long rumored to be the Earl of Curramore. That's what they think it was.
Really?
He was a bit of an odd character.
Spring-Heeled Jack.
Spring-Heeled Jack, man. Stabby
Sounds
stab,
like
man.
a blues player from the
Spring-Heeled Jack, man.
Spring-Heeled Jack.
And who's the Mull of Kintyre?
That is the worst song by Paul McCartney, I think.
Is it?
Think
Lovely
so.
harmonies.
I'm a huge fan.
Okay.
Past painted deserts, the sun sets on fire as he carries me home to the Mull of Kintyre.
Have you heard the Eurosong candidates?
I have heard the Eurosong candidates.
One will have been picked. I have to say, I wasn't. I'm
not enthused.
I'm not enthused. I think the Eurovision Selection Committee have done I think they've picked the most Eurovision-y sounding songs. And I think that's a huge mistake because we can't compete with pop over there on Europe. And I think it's a huge mistake. I think when people are actually watching the Eurovision, they're going to be looking at their phone, and it either needs to be out of this world, brilliant, the best song you've ever heard that is going to win, or it has to be different. And I don't know why we're not sending traditional trad. If I can just stick my oar in there.
Stick your oar in.
I don't know why. Why are they sending some haunting trad? Why aren't they sending something weird?
Just, Lancome would never do it, but just their drones alone. I'd love to see the Lancome drones.
Yeah, but their songs take 20 minutes. That's the problem.
No, but
just
even
blasting out across 300 million TVs.
A billion.
It'd be incredible.
Is that how many?
I just said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know.
Awaken.
Do you
all these
remember
people.
what you did the night of the results of the marriage equality referendum in 2015?
I think I was out in town. Probably I was in Toners.
I haven't a clue.
Right. Well, did you know? Never mind.
Why?
Because lots of people remember that, but actually no one remembers there was a Eurovision on that night.
Was there a Eurovision on that night? Who won?
Don't know. But there was one on, but we were all busy.
Oh yeah, the forgotten one.
Yeah.
No, I think I do. I remember I was in Gemma O'Doherty's house and we were just all sitting there quiet. It was awful. It was an awful evening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're sorry. I see what you did. You're pretending that you were a no voter. Did you vote yes in the referendum for marriage equality?
When was it?
2015.
I assume I did, yeah. Yeah. I can't
How
can't
did you vote
really
on the
remember.
repeal?
I was not in the country at the time.
Right.
But I made a little video about it and I said, and it was like an orange that had been peeled badly the first time and we needed to repeel.
Okay.
Repeal.
I wasn't sure where you were going there with that.
Anna flew back from New York and went over. Yeah.
Slay.
And
Home to vote.
home to vote, yeah.
Tony, are you looking up to check if I was right or not?
No, you were. I think you are right. But I was trying to see who we failed to
Representative
qualify.
was.
It was Molly Sterling, with that song "Playing with Numbers."
And
I actually
no
was-
shade to Molly, but
And I was wondering exactly why, because when I did a Eurovision podcast a few years ago, I was going through every Ireland entry that we've had, and I'd never heard this one before. And I think it's because of the quality referendum.
Yes, the marriage equality referendum.
And I wonder maybe if there was maybe some Eurovision committee,
Who's on that? You're always talking about that. Who is it?
I don't know, and I want to know, and I want their name, and I want their blood.
Get Tony on it. Like, come on, he really wants to be on it.
I don't know who it is, and they think because they're selecting 6 songs and putting them on the late that's them doing their due diligence. But they're still having to pick 6 songs, probably out of 100 at least, I would say.
Sure.
Or like there's sometimes countries are like they actively go after someone saying, "Can you do a song?" So I don't know. I have an issue with Anyway.
Our entry didn't get in, unfortunately. The peep 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 rap, it didn't get in.
Oh yeah,
We'll try again.
Give us 2 verses of that.
Peep, peep, peep. The happen and leap. With the real hot boys are dancing on the street. We're gonna hit you fast. We're gonna hit you slow. We're gonna do it, on the Young Hot Guys show.
They said it was too much like a bad rap. So
Yeah, they did. It was a bit dated.
so they wouldn't take it. Why don't the Sleaze enter to the Euro song?
Too rock and roll. Entering it, I don't know. Well, Maneskin did it, didn't they? But I just think we're too rock and roll. They wouldn't like us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're too punk.
Sure. That's a real Dunleary
vibe. We saw the Bob Dylan film,
A Complete Unknown.
A Complete Unknown, and when he plays electric at the folk festival, people are losing their fucking minds.
Yeah.
And it's literally a man like playing an electric guitar and a bass guitar and drums. And he's just playing. He's like, once upon a time, you dress so fine. And people, like all these folkies, are just like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, It's like their minds are blown.
And then he gets in the car after and says, why are they booing? Why are they booing?
Why don't they let music? But they, I mean, I just would love, it would just be such a good head melt to just have, I don't know, Skrillex or something at that exact same moment. Like, just jump like 3 times and have him come out and do it. I did
It's
some research
impossible to imagine a similar thing.
Yeah.
The idea of us going to something and then being so ensconced
Yeah.
by what they're playing. It's impossible to imagine that.
But apparently it was not, it was because the sound was really bad. That's the kind of, the people did start booing him and stuff, but apparently most people were booing because the sound was really, really bad and it was very distorted and you couldn't hear anything that he was saying. And apparently it's all this sort of urban myth that people were booing him at the thing because everyone loved the guy. So,
Imagine if you picture something like a church environment where, not that it's as solemn or as serious, but something like that, you just expect to know exactly what you're going to get from like a chorus or, some sort of like some hymn, and then someone starts playing the electric. It would just sound, I think that's the jarring nature, of how different it would be. But thank God he did.
he was such a fuckboy. It was so funny. If you watch the film, like Bob Dylan.
I can't wait to see it.
Absolute fuckboy. It's so funny.
Yeah, but he didn't look like little Timmy Chalamet.
He was a fucking little dampy of a yoke in IRL.
Yeah.
Back then.
Bob
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
You're kind of, he's like walking around
Sure,
just
he's
nagging
very-
all these
very
women.
charismatic, but he's not like.
Did you ever see him on the cover of his first album?
Nagging Joan Baez, literally going to Joan Baez. Your songs aren't so good, Joan. Joan, you got to rewrite your songs. Not very. You write your songs are like a painting in a dentist's office. Saying that kind of shit to her. But you're like, what? But somehow he's like this class songwriter, so they all love him. But He's the ultimate. I turned down. I was like, he's the godfather of fuckboys. Like he really is in that.
Like,
film.
look at him.
Mattress on the floor.
Little dampy.
Look.
Yeah,
Look. We're not getting into the weeds of whether or not Bob Dylan was pretty or not.
We just want
Timothy
to talk to each other.
Chalamet pretty.
And the lies he just told everyone.
He's doing a review of the film. Are you just obsessed?
I just think that, this is true. That he went to New York, and he's like
Which
this
you did too.
middle class Jewish kid from Middle America, Minnesota, I think it is. And then he goes and he arrives there and he's got like, little cap on and he's going like, yeah, I was out with the carnies. I was taken by the carnival. And, the strong man used to sleep in the... And just telling all these insane lies. And everyone's like, oh my God, this guy's fucking unreal. And then he's just like, I was just lying about all that. Came in by freight train. They're like, how did you get to New York? He said, came in by freight train. Joe stole a freight, came across the Williamsburg Bridge. And you're like, none of that happened.
This is like you being like, they put me out and put grommets in my ears and they said, nothing's wrong with you. And then I lived in New York and I lived in Paris. I actually lived in Paris twice and New York 4 times.
I think that's just typical. It's not just like a PR spin. It's just typical of that generation of men. Think of all the granddads, they talk so much shite. Like they just spout rubbish. And I mean, dads as well, they get maybe they're settling into it. But like they'll just tell you a story. Like granddads be talking about stories being in the war.
Yeah.
What war?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They weren't in any war.
No.
In the war.
Can
You
I
weren't
say,
in any war. They're
what war?
just fibbers. They're fibbers.
I love
They're
it.
just telling lies.
They were in
I
fibbers.
love that. I actually respect that.
I love
that
big
granddad
fishing.
patter.
I
love
love
it.
dad and granddad big fishing. Of totally, like if you're telling some fucking boring story, like give your child something to latch onto, some kind of sense of wonder that things can happen in the world. Pass it on. Big fish it.
Yeah.
Like grommets in your ears.
Grommets in your ears. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's fine. All right. Personally, and I know it's me and the story's about me, but I'm a grommets truther.
Whoa,
I want a letter from.
I'm going to block you.
But I want a letter from your mother on this. I don't. Well, first of all, I'm saying your mother because I don't trust Helmut. He is a dad and he will add fantasy. I want a letter from your mother about whether or not this is true.
Or maybe that's just some German efficient parenting where it's just, like, put them under, just
put him under first and then
put
we'll
him
have a
under,
look.
have a look, No. He definitely has something in his ear. No,
They
put him
love
under.
getting the tonsils out in Germany. Like they take your tonsils out if you had a sore foot. Like in Germany, they get the tonsils out straight away. They
Even
love
now,
taking
that's good. They're moving away from that practice, as I learned myself and told you that. And if you have tonsillitis, every prick says to you, get them out. Get them out. Like,
I don't have them. I got rid of them.
yeah.
How do you?
Open your mouth. Say all. See, it doesn't help because you don't really know where they're missing from.
How do you gargle mouthwash?
I can't swallow. Everything just goes straight down.
Just tube.
I have to tilt my head and everything just falls down my throat.
Okay, I think we've had enough. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. These two funny boys are on tour, but you would have already heard about that at the top of the show. But
Thank
do
you.
check them out. Buy tickets.
We will be in Drogheda. The Young Hot Guys will be in Drogheda.
Oh, we are, yeah.
We will also be in London. The links to those shows are in our bios. I have a feeling the Drogheda one is in March.
It's in the first weekend of March.
And then...
second weekend of March.
We'll be in London on May the 11th in the Leicester Square Theatre, and tickets are flying for that. Thank you guys so much.
They're really gone for London, actually. So
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want, there's only a few left.
Get them.
So don't even bother. But if you want to see how well we're doing, you can go into the Leicester Square Theatre website. But look, thanks very much to everyone. I love you so much, and have a wonderful Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Oh, yeah,
Love is
kissy,
in the
kissy.
air.
Mwah.
Oh, I wanted to say a few bits about that. Never mind.
Oh, go on.
Go on.
I just think there's so much stuff. I'm like, lots of single people always put up, hating Valentine's or whatever. It's like, you don't hate it because anyone who's in a relationship who's too into Valentine's, they're also thick. They're
Yeah.
thick. Don't be. Valentine's is a non-event. Like, would you stop? We're going out for dinner for Valentine's. What are you doing? But just behave yourself.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in that at all. I just don't have any time for it. I'm on the road. Okay, I'm down in Ballycotton that night. I don't.
I'll be in
You think
Galway.
you think me aiming to go for a nice steak? No, I'm in Ballycotton. I'm working.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship and you're out with other couples, right? If you really want to wind up the other couples there, just say something to your, about your partner, or you'd be talking, being like, I just love her. With them in the room. I know, look, whatever. I just love her. I love her. I'm in love with her. Look at her. Any kind of those it winds me up because it makes me feel like I'm not in love with my wife because it's so brash and fucking, it's like nails on a chalkboard. I just look at him over there. I love him, I find it, but I'm all for declaring love. But if you ever just want to fucking, assert yourself and make your other friends insecure, declare your love for your partner in front of friends.
Yeah.
You know, so only do it out of spite. Don't do it because you love them.
Don't do it because you love them.
No,
do
no,
it
no.
out of pure spite.
Out of pure spite, the most powerful emotion there is.
And that's the emotion to bring into this Valentine's Day, spite.
And take that with you in your week now as you head away. Fill it with spite. Valentine's, no Valentine's. People listen to this different time of the year. Just be spiteful. Be a little petty bitch this week.
Yes.
And enjoy it.
We'll see you next week.
Slán.
Bitter, attractive, very attractive.
Hot and loud.
And a little bit sad.
He was the best guy around. Oh my, is it hot in here or what?
You're an attractive guy. It's the fabulous Tony Cantwell.
I'm talking about Shane Daniel Byrne.
Killian, Sundermann!